baddest bitches. Top that, now they gotta be mad ambitious. Slim waist, full meal, and they mad delicious. Only broke ass boys chase old them bitches. Boy, I wanna catch a body. I never caught a body, but I promise I'ma catch it. Ain't no mercy for nobody, just rehearsing and I promise.
Hey guys, welcome to Set the Tone. Here we challenge you to step out of your comfort zone.
We talk about things that matter to us and you.
Things that we don't talk about at home or in mainstream spaces.
And today we're talking about colorism and how it impacts us all. I'm Ya.
I'm Adior.
I'm Adir.
And I'm Angeb, and together we're here to
Set the Tone.
Why they stressing? What's the matter? Yes, I'm a queen with color.
Seriously, guys, colorism is a thing.
Yeah, it's a big thing, especially at school and on the media.
There have been incidents at school where dark-skinned black boys will say they wouldn't date a dark-skinned black girl because they're loud, they're ratchet, and apparently they're ugly.
Exactly, these type of comments are everyday reality for young black girls. Ugh.
Facts.
These are some of the reasons why people bleach nowadays.
Yeah, this is the reason why the skin bleaching industry is worth more than $3 billion worldwide.
Sheesh. Even though, we can see that there's no stats in Australia, there's obviously a problem with bleaching in the African and Asian communities.
Yeah, exactly. But think about it. It goes much deeper than just the skin. You know, it all started in colonization, which extended to racism and ultimately colorism.
That is. Well, today we have amazing guests who are going to help us dig deeper into the issues of colorism. So let's welcome our first guest and get this show on the road.
Hi, my name is Nyarod Ruthraj. I am a multidisciplinary artist. I work in community development and I'm currently teaching right now. My proudest moment thus far is the constant resistance I have towards the world and the growth that I am experiencing continuously as an individual.
Ruth, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So I've seen that you wrote on the board. Would you like to explain your quote?
The quote says, "Even the moon passes through phases to return to full." I chose that quote by Sonia. She is a writer, and for me, it resonated with me because it just really affirms to me that healing takes time. And what the moon says to me when I look at it and the reflection that I observe from it is that it goes through many phases, but it always comes down and it always, remains full. Yeah.
That's really meaningful. That's inspirational.
I like that. I want to have that tattoo.
Yeah. So our first episode, this is going to be about colorism. And we just want to know what your personal experiences with colorism have been in Australia.
Well, my introduction to what colorism was on my earlier when I was 21, and I understood the concept and the word colorism itself.
Okay.
But when I was 16, I felt uncomfortable most of my time, having those uncomfortable conversations with my aunties, where they would compliment my skin, but they would say, "Oh, but your face is a bit darker." So even that out. So it's that conversation made me uncomfortable because at that point I didn't understand the whole concept of what an even or uneven skin looked like. Because outside of myself, when I go to school, I'm the only black kid there. Also, globally, identifying myself as a black woman, I wasn't really represented in a lot of spaces. But then you have shows like the Saturday Club, and then you have that one black girl, and then you kind of have that excitement, but then still that disappointment within you because you're like, I don't look like that girl, but she's still black at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's like, globally and also, internally and externally, in school and also social environments, I just felt very overwhelmed from what everybody was trying to say about me. Yeah. And I didn't know that me being this color was an issue. If there was a black woman represented, a dark-skinned woman represented in anything, there was a stereotype behind that.
Yeah.
So it's like...
angry black girl.
Yeah, so it's like there's all these overwhelming ideas and identities about who you are as a black woman, so you get really caught up in all that, which led me into maybe perhaps I should try bleaching my skin and going into that process of using the gels and using the soaps and all that stuff. But I think my awareness happened really when my grandma sat me down and basically deconstruct to me why my mothers and my aunties have that mindset, and just talking about the Arabization that happened in South Sudan, and just the whole concept of being lighter skinned, it's more likely if you're light skinned, you're gonna be married and you're considered as beautiful.
That's
so then it's then the whole concept of what beauty is and the standards of beauty that overwhelm me. So my experience has been very complex and I'm still yet, deconstructing and understanding that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all are. It's a long process.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the part where you said about like your aunties pointing out your skin tone, I completely felt that. I always feel the need to say something about either my weight or my skin tone, and it's like, why does that concern you sometimes?
Right.
So you've just previously touched on skin bleaching. Would you like to tell us more about that experience?
I was really bombarded when I was young, around like 17, 18, Carolite. I don't know if you guys know Carolite.
I've seen it.
So every single time you go and buy hair, you just have all these products of like before and after of women. And then it's like, you're just so confused as to why is that a reality or why is that something that we should accept?
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, it's like my mom bleached, my aunties bleached, my friends bleached, you know what I mean? And it got to a point where like now that I reflect back on it and I see like people who have used it and, like their skin is just like, it's not nice because it just really, it ruins you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it takes away something that it's so unique to who you are as an individual.
What guidance do you wish you had when you were going through this process? Or like, what do you wish you saw on the TV or?
I feel like for me, if I was to go back in time, I would tell myself like, girl, one day people are going to think what you look like right now. It's like goddess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People will really like hype, like there's going to be a point where people will realize how beautiful we are. And then that within that space and within that collective consciousness and like everybody coming together and celebrating Blackness, you see and you appreciate yourself more.
Yeah.
So it's like do it now. So later on when everybody starts celebrating that, you're going to be like, I've been celebrating.
Yeah. So thank you, Ruth, for joining us today.
Thank you.
No problem. It was a great discussion. And now we're going to go meet our next guest.
My name is Deepa Rao. I work as a product owner in IT, and I'm also a writer, writing specifically around gender and issues of family violence.
So Deepa, we've noticed that you've written a quote on the board. Would you like to explain the meaning behind that?
Yep. It's by a Delhi-based writer called Vinity Bhole, and it says, every time you shame your body for wearing too much or too little earth, a continent weeps. Be black, be brown, be white, be you.
Okay.
I think it speaks to a couple of things. Every time I look at it, I think of a new thing that I didn't think of earlier. I think fundamentally it speaks to the fact that women, things that are expected of women is sometimes that you should do only a certain amount of something. Too much is too much, and too little is too little. Yeah. And you always have to walk between these two narrow boundaries. So it applies to a whole heap of things, right? How much makeup do you wear? How much is too... Women are criticized for wearing too much makeup or too little makeup.
Yeah.
Too many clothes or too little clothes.
Definitely.
For being too feminine or not feminine enough. So I think it speaks to a lot of those the way women are policed and the narrow ideals we have of behavior, of beauty, of colour, you know. Also, it speaks to, white women wanting to darken their skin and dark women wanting to lighten their skin to meet a particular ideal. So.
Oh, wow. That quote really goes with what our topic is going to be today. And since we're talking about colorism, I would like to ask you, what are your experiences with colorism?
They're quite varied and quite interesting. When I first came to Australia, for example, I felt it like I'd never felt it before.
Yeah.
I moved to Australia in 2005, and I was living in London for about 6 months. I'd moved from London back to India for a short while and then to Australia. And the difference in how people treat you in the UK and in London and in Melbourne really struck me.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that I was a dark-skinned person in London as such, bar a few experiences, but it followed me like a shadow when I was in Melbourne.
How do they treat you
You get treated like you're not there.
Okay.
It's a kind of invisibility. I remember going into Maya and wanting some help. And even though there were people around me that were being served by people at Maya, that never happened to me. I was never served. So I waited and I left. And I remember not going back into Maya for, I think, 7 years after that, or 6 years. I said, nah, I'm not going back in there.
So Deepa, what's your experiences with skin bleaching?
I have bleached my skin. I used to, not very frequently, but whenever I went to a salon to have a facial or get my eyebrows done or something like that, I think I would have done it about 5 or 6 times. And then I bought bleach as well.
Yeah.
And looking back at it now, just using the word bleach on your skin sounds terrifying and
Yeah,
horrible, like a horrible thing to do. But reflecting on it, I don't think I questioned it.
Yeah.
You know, you go in like, you know, you shave your armpits, right? That's just what you do. You wear heels, that's what you do. So it was so pervasive. Everyone was doing it. And when you go in, they offer it to you like it's a product. Oh, do you want to, you know, steam your face, get your eyebrows done and bleach your skin?
So if someone else saw someone else do it, it wouldn't be like, oh, why is she doing that? She's just like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Normal.
It wasn't questioned. I didn't think to question it at all till I was much, much older.
Is there a message you wanted to send to the younger audience on colorism?
That question everything.
Yeah.
Question why you're expected to wear heels or shave or dress a certain way or wear little clothes or too many clothes.
Yeah.
You know, question everything as early as you possibly can. Why are there certain expectations of you versus someone else?
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing your story on colorism and your experiences with bleaching, and it was very insightful and I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Now that we've heard two strong women's perspective on colorism, wouldn't it be nice to hear a boy's perspective?
Yeah, it would. Well, we've hit up our friend and this is what he had to say about the topic.
My name is Aldeen. I'm a filmmaker. My proudest moment is when I heard that I'm going to be doing a feature film.
Why do you think darker-skinned men tend to go for lighter-skinned women?
I don't think at all,
Yeah?
but I see.
Yeah.
So basically, it depends on the individual people. So I can't really speak for everybody, but I'm not really sure what it is. But if you go to a new environment, a new place, a new tradition, a new culture, so basically you want to fall in love with that.
And would you yourself have a dating preference?
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
Not at all. But okay, when I first came to Australia, it's very, very new to me, and I was very, very excited.
Okay.
Not just to live, but to experience, and also just to be, you know, I mean, a teenager who's got the freedom to do whatever that they want to do.
Why do you think that dark-skinned men discriminate against dark-skinned women?
It depends, you know, in every race, yeah. So there's ignorant men.
Yeah.
You know, so those are the ones who actually discriminate, or either hate, or either just get jealous because they're not dark enough for that beauty.
Yeah, cause I'm a queen with color. And you're a king, my brother.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
We hope you had a great time. And you learned a thing or two about colorism.
Let's continue this chat on all our socials. I'm Adiad.
I'm Angeth. I'm Adio.
And I'm Yar.
And we've just set the tone.
Deuces.
Stressing, what's the matter? Yes, I'm a queen with color. Why they dissing, what's the matter? Cause I'm a queen with color. Yeah, why they stressing, what's the matter? Yes, I'm a queen with color. Yeah, cause I'm a queen with color. And you're a king, my brother. Cause I'm a queen with color. With color. With color. And you're a king, my brother.